How's it going, guys? Still May 24th, 10:28 p.m. here on the East Coast. Getting into a little late, and as I said in the previous vlog, I gotta be up pretty early tomorrow. But that kind of leads me to this next vlog. Been reading and doing some research on a couple of different things, and looking around my office here, I've got a lot of different things that remind me about a lot of different accomplishments that I've had over the years. And I notice that I'm slowing down a little bit, and I do believe that I'm a little too young to be slowing down a little bit. I see all these accomplishments like me doing certain things, like looking over by my closet now, and I see I got a medal from the Marine Corps for doing a marathon while I was in Iraq, and for doing what's called the duathlon while I was in Iraq, and just a couple other different things. And I can't quite figure out what it is that has. I think it's a little lack of motivation, kind of within, that has slowed me down a little bit. I was so much more productive um, before, I would say, and I'm very productive now, but I feel like my potential is only at like, I don't know, 60%, maybe 70, 75, pushing at the most, but I feel like I got another at least 25% to give on a daily basis to really move forward. But there has been a lot of changes in my life as well, like having a daughter now. When I did those accomplishments, the two I just spoke of, and while I was in a majority of my military career, I did not have a daughter. So I was able to focus more of my time into some individual development type of things. And even recently, even with having a daughter, I was able to focus my time when I was really serious about doing like the life coaching and mentoring and different things. I would allocate my time to that. And it's a matter of what's important to you is kind of the frame of mind, the gear that I'm in. Whenever I'm excited about something new or trying to get something accomplished, I'm full bore ahead. There's no slowing down, and I don't stop until I reach either a full state of self-satisfied knowledge or I have completed that task, like finishing a marathon, which I was not prepared to run, but I had such a uh, uh, what do you call it? So much heart that I wouldn't give up on it. And it's one of those things, and I think I read this somewhere, and I can't remember it to save my life, but um, a majority of people who start marathons finish it, like a good over 90%. People who start marathons finish it, and a majority of them are just not in the shape that they need to be to run those marathons. And they, like me, I bit off more than I could chew. Granted, I was in pretty excellent shape. I was running, you know, 2 minute miles. Granted, a marathon's 26 point 2 miles or something like that. But I was running 2 miles in, around 13 minutes, 6.5 minute miles, and sometimes better than that. My best miles were around 6 minutes, and that was, as fast as I needed to be for the military. So that's why I ran that fast. But um, I would do these things, and like most people, bit off more than I could chew. But a good majority of a good percentage, like above 90%, finish marathons, even though they've met defeat along the way. I met my defeat in that marathon right around mile, I think 14, where I made the terrible mistake of stopping to stretch. I thought I needed to stretch, and that was the worst mistake that I had made in that marathon because I was cruising. I had a trainer for the marathon, and I think we trained up to 8 miles, maybe 9. No, I would say probably 8 miles at most. And I thought I was good and ready. Um, I even beat my trainer up into the halfway point, and then he cruised on by me because I was cruising around 8 minute miles for through the halfway point, and then after that it just I stopped to stretch, and that was some of the worst pain I'd ever felt in my life. But I was determined to finish the marathon, and there was many a times throughout the marathon where you really have to dig down deep and find the courage, find the strength to finish. And that's that strength, that courage, that extra 25%, like I tell you, that you keep on reserve. I used to be able to access that freely, access that all the time, and that's why I would sign up for these things from time to time, even on my time off. I would sign up to do these things and just go with it, bite off more than I can chew, and do it. And I think sometimes you have to do that to challenge yourself and to stay on top. And I need to find, although time-wise my schedule was pretty challenging, I don't feel like it's challenging in a sense to where it's necessarily fulfilling. These videos I love doing, but I think the live audience might capture me more, might make me feel more rewarding. Even if I could get some more comments on these vlogs, I think that'd be more rewarding. Um, but I continue to make these vlogs to put the information out there that I believe is valuable. But having that interaction, that human interaction, and doing things that where you can see the benefit, where I can bring home what you would call I guess a medal of achievement for completing something home, and be able to look back and reflect on that. I don't necessarily get that a medal every time I make a vlog, or every time I do my homework, or every time I go to work. You just don't get medals for doing those types of things. It's the extracurricular things that you do outside of the scope of your things that give you that sort of sense of accomplishment. And I would work damn hard at getting that, and I can't wait till the day that I graduate college so I can just have that sense of accomplishment done, and maybe I pursue a more advanced degree at some point in time. But I have certain educational beliefs and things in place to allow me to go to school um, that I've earned through benefits of the military. And I'm taking advantage of those benefits, as I suggest all people in my situation do once you get out of the military. But it's a very interesting thing. I felt like I was more energized, more charged before, although my schedule, I was working probably more hours and had less, I would say around the same free time, because now I have a kid, but I'm working less hours. But raising a daughter does do certain things to take up more of your time, which I don't mind spending that time with my daughter. And on a side note, I'm noticing an increase in affection for my daughter by trying to implement that unconditional love theory that has been passed down to me from some very intelligent people who I came across and talked to. And it is working out in my favor. So it's just a thing as I look around my office, I try to surround my office with things that remind me of happy times, happy places, and accomplishment. And I got plenty of that around, but I feel like I need to get back on that bandwagon of accomplishments and do certain things that make you feel good. Sign up for, I don't know, the weirdest things. Like I have this, like I always wanted to run a marathon, so I signed up for one. I always wanted to do something cool like a duathlon where you run, swim, or run, which I thought was cool, and so I did it. The other thing that I wanted to do here, and you come up with all sorts of excuses along the way to not do it, so I find out the easiest way is just sign up for it and figure out where you fall. Figure out, what kind of where you place. I've never placed in the duathlon. I wasn't top 10 or anything, but I'd like to think in a couple hundred people, I probably came out within the top 10%, which I still hold near and dear for the marathon. I did terrible. I did great for the first half, but terrible for the second half. So it was pretty exhilarating. I've done other things along my military career that has made me very proud and very accomplished. But it does require lots of time, focus, and energy. I don't know where I was getting that before, but my focus and procrastination is crazy. It's around every corner. There's so many things to distract you. One of the most dangerous things that I was just reading about recently is a cell phone and its addictive tendencies. If it's the first thing you do when you wake up, you are addicted to your cell phone. So they say. So if you open your eyes in the morning, you reach over for your cell phone, start checking your social media, you are addicted to your cell phone. One, social media. Two, and that is crazy, but I'm a victim of it. And I can tell you that it has slowed me down tremendously. Social media has slowed me down. That's the only correlating factor that I can agree with, is that after I introduced social media into my life, I did notice a very distracted version of myself that came into existence. And as hard as that is for me to admit, I guess what I'm going to try to do now is maybe use social media as a pastime when I'm trying to figure this out as this vlog goes on, but I wanted to use social media as an implementation for, I have to use it for work, but outside of that, I don't really have to use it. I don't talk to friends through there. I did talk to friends through text messages and things of that nature. So if that isn't going on, and they say the reason we look for social media so often is because we're looking for some sort of instant gratification, which I find pretty. I can understand it, and it's almost like an addict getting their fix. That we're looking for like the next thing to just be like, oh, that's awesome. I'm so glad I know that. And then there's this whole thing. I wrote a paper on this, the fear of missing out, FOMO, um, and that's a real thing. You have this fear of missing out. But I'm going to try to use social media more as a pastime, to where I don't really incorporate it into my day like I do now. Like I wake up and I check my phone, and I should be checking it for text messages and maybe emails, which we all get a ton of those, but we know how to accurately circumvent those to read the information we have to and move along, and check our text messages and reply to those and move along. But if it's not those two things, I think that we waste a lot of time doing those things, and it delays us, it procrastinates us from doing the things, at least myself, I notice that it delays me and procrastinates me from doing the things that I need to get done on a daily basis, which is terrible in a sense. I mean, I shouldn't be looking at a phone that way. And I did it today. I procrastinated up until a point, and I noticed that I'm more productive when people are around. When people are expecting things of me, I tend to be more productive. And I noticed that in a general society as well, that people tend to be more productive when other people count on them, when other people expect them to be productive. And you always find excuses to do stuff or to not do stuff. And I always feel good and feel so proud of myself whenever I have a fully developed day where I did something from sun up to sundown. And I went through a short period in my life where I was waking up at 4:30 in the morning, and I can't tell you so many good things that came from that. But working in this business that I work in now, where I have to work sometimes till 3 in the morning, and I don't get to bed till 4. By the time I get home cleaned up and ready for bed, it's 4 o'clock sometimes. I can't be up in half an hour. That's just not realistic, and that's it's a detriment to your health. And I understand the value of sleep now more than I've ever had before. But that's why I've started to implement certain things like waking up or setting my alarm 8 hours after I go to sleep, whatever time that is. That's time to wake up. But most of the times I don't do that myself. So I'm trying to find what it is that could um, uh, allow me to get out of bed, and I think allow me to get out of bed and get my day going and be productive in my day. And I think a lapse in social media, drawing that back, will help me develop and do those things. And by social media, I'm including not just Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and those things, because I only have Facebook and Twitter, and the Twitter I only use for business, so that's not a distracting factor, I don't think, whatsoever. And I only check it when I get on my computer to post new videos to it. Facebook, I do tend to look on there a lot more often, since I ran the one I run one for my current business, but I think that that's can be mitigated as well. Only look at it when I'm out there posting things and doing work-related type of things. Other than that, there shouldn't be, any information or any of my time wasted on it. I could be spending more time doing other things that I need to get done, focus more. But I do think that at the introduction of social media into my life, I would say back around 2011, maybe 2010, but probably 2011, is when I started to have that more of a procrastination sense because I found something else to fulfill my time that felt more rewarding. And they say you have to replace that time that you would spend on your cell phone because that's instant gratification. So you have to find something to replace that time that's of equal or greater value. So that's the trick, is you got to find something that you value more than that cell phone. Like real human interaction, like getting up, spending time with your family, or just doing certain things that you enjoy doing. Yes, there's an ease of a cell phone of not having to do much, but that is also its downfall, I believe. And those are some things that I was just thinking about, trying to correlate them to my past, to my present, and when obviously you don't have cell phone in a place like Iraq, there's a lot more that I was able to accomplish there. And I have so many medals from different things, and that was one of the most productive periods in my life. Is because I didn't have access to social media. And as sad and as unreal as that is, and as untrue some people may find it, is, if you want to test my theory, I didn't even have access to not only social media, but internet was severely limited. And something you had to pay a lot of money to make a phone call. So when I did do that, it was to talk to my wife and let her know about how I was doing there, and to be able to talk about holidays or certain things. Phone calls were more of the norm through office lines and things of that nature, but you had to pay for calling cards too. That was one of the most productive times, and I was going to school full time, working full time, and then participating in things in my free time. My schedule was ate up, but I still managed to do certain things because I didn't have the time to spend doing looking over social media, so to speak. What else? The other thing is how you manage your time. I noticed when I was deployed, I had to work 7 days a week. You work every single day. You don't necessarily get a day off. And we did certain things, like I mentioned in the previous vlog, where we would work a half a day on one day and a half day on the other. So technically, in between the break, you'd get a day off, but you wouldn't necessarily. You'd get a 24-hour break in between your shifts, but not necessarily a day off, if that makes sense. And that was only happened one time per week. The rest of the time, you had full days of work. But I was the most productive then. And when I got back to the States, I was getting my weekends back, and 4 days once a month, I said, I don't know what I'm going to do with all this free time. It's crazy. I can do so much stuff. We can go travel. We can go on different places, go see different things. And some of my friends did that, and then some of my friends and I chose to be enveloped in social media, and that ate up a lot of the time. Also, TV is a crazy killer of time. I went through a while after we first moved into this place where I didn't get cable for a while, and I don't have cable now. I have internet, but it makes watching TV a little bit more difficult, which I enjoy that challenge because it makes me not want to watch TV as much, but it also puts more access into my fingertips at times too, more access to TV shows. And there's some interesting studies out there that correlate not having to wait for TV shows and just getting all that instant gratification. You can binge watch series of TV shows now. Sometimes they release, Netflix is known for doing this. They release an entire series, so all 10 or 12 episodes, the entire series, and people can just binge watch that entire thing, and that's a thing now. Commercials are becoming more of a thing of the past, and that instant gratification it's just becoming quicker. It's becoming less of time, less time wasted, less time spent on waiting. and that waiting is a crucial part of developmental theories within the brain. So they're saying that the kids of today aren't that patient because they haven't had to wait for much. Most of the TV shows and things that they want to watch, they get access to immediately. Most of the things that they get on the internet, they have access to immediately. And it's really crazy that they're not taught patience. So like going out fishing and waiting for a fish to bite and all those sort of things. And I think that really, brings me back to a focal point. Whenever I was doing that stuff, I felt a lot better. I felt like I was getting out more, feeling like I'm entrapping myself in a sense. And that's not necessarily a good thing to do. So I'm going to try to change up a couple different strategies here, and I'll keep you guys posted on that by removing more social media out of my life, not revolving around that, and really limiting it to, only work-related type stuff. If I have to go on Facebook, it should only be to manage a Facebook account for my work, because I don't have an individual Facebook because it did waste too much of my time. I've done certain things like this in the past, I just haven't been able to connect the dots until now after reviewing it. Like I've gave away an Xbox 360 console to one of my brothers because I knew it was going to take away and detract from my focus and determinability in the military. So I did, and I kept a console that was more physically interactive but outdated. I kept a Wii that I still have to this day, and I don't play it that much. And I kept it because I know it wouldn't entice me to be playing that much. I went through some phases where I did want to play it a lot, but again, that slowed me down, and I identified with that. But I'm having such a hard time with the cell phone issue because it's so readily available, and there's not much you have to do besides make sure that your phone is charged and you have access to a wealth of information. Now, if you're doing that access to a wealth of information as research and not necessarily watching videos or trying to look for that next golden nugget thing in your mind, I think that may be beneficial to a certain extent, but trying to remove that social media platform, I think it's going to be difficult, but I've done it before. I know that I can do it, and I think that it can lead to more successful things in my life, and maybe a healthier lifestyle, more productive lifestyle that I'm looking forward and looking more to get a hold of. I feel like my work capability is coming back around. Like I'm working a lot, going to school a lot, and doing these vlogs. There's a lot that I have going on in my life. But as far as, I was doing that before in the military when I was deployed, but still not signing up for physically challenging things. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but I do want to be in like some sort of bodybuilding competition. That's always been like a dream of mine, to be up on a stage and be judged on, how physically. I think that once I set a mindset to do it, that I can be one of the best at it, and that's just my mentality. And again, I don't have to place to be happy, but just doing it makes me happy. I didn't win the marathon, but doing it did make me happy. I didn't win the duathlon. I didn't win a whole bunch of 5Ks or 10Ks that I ran there. I ran so many of those. I didn't win not one of them, but participating in them made me feel better. So I think signing up for something in the near future and participating in it will give me some sort of encouragement to not only live a healthy lifestyle, but act in accordance with a healthy lifestyle, and give me some sort of other thing to focus on, because I work out every day, but I'm doing it more as a sustainment, not improvement type of workout, and my diet is severely suffering, and I know that needs to be reflected upon as well. But maybe I can roll my focus into the bodybuilding by changing my time and focus and energy into that rather than social media, and I think that would be a good thing for me. And I have a close friend who I hold near and dear that is just placed second place in our bodybuilding competition. So I know he knows what he's doing, so he'd be a good mentor for me to get on that bandwagon and be able to get the things done that I need to get done to get to where I need to get to. So I appreciate you guys watching, like, commenting, and subscribing. I know there was a lot of information. This one's not really titled in a way. I guess I'll call it future development. It's just the title that came into my mind, and we'll see how things go from there, how things develop. But realize the things that are holding you back. Realize that you have more potential within yourself. If you're giving, if you can accurately say to yourself that you're giving, like I said, at most 75%, that other 25% is going wasted on a daily basis. Why not concentrate that 25% onto something else? For me, I'm going to try to focus it on my health and this new thing of bodybuilding, and I think that'll help me refocus, re-energize, and it'll help me on several different avenues. And I think that might be a good way to eliminate the social media to a certain extent. Still using it for work and things of that nature, but not much else. And the gratitude and the things that I find out on social media aren't, I could say that I could probably live without them. There was life before social media, and there'll be life after social media. So again, be aware of the things that slow you down, that keep you from progressing, and if you can admit those things, like I just have, then you're already ahead of the game, and you can make changes to that. I know for me it's going to be difficult, but since I have a plan, like I just said in the previous vlog, working to that end goal and working backwards from there, I think it'll be a good thing to take hold of. So again, I appreciate you guys watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, and I will see you guys on the next one.